On a dark night in Yata, I let down my hair. The sweet smell of river's delight rising up through the air. Singing songs with the locals, such a wonderful sight. My feet are heavy and I need to rest. We'll have to stop for the night. The dulcimer rang softly, filling the room with sound. I thought as I drank there, this is the finest tavern around. We passed around a hatful, this is the bard's way. Among the cheers and applause, I thought I heard them say, welcome to the fish out of water. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely face. Plenty of room at the fish out of water. Any time of year, you can find it here. A city lose a chance to see some most amazing sights, and so to bed so we can rise with the first morning light. One day to see the city entire. Greg does not want to stay, he dies a desire.
Yes, I believe there may be a clearing, and I believe I may have heard some hustling and bustling. Yes.
Care to tell us where that is?
I couldn't possibly understand where it is, no.
Fucking hell.
Maybe in the vague direction of the dome, probably, but I might have a hidden agenda, so...
Should we just head towards the dome?
Certainly not behind you, anyway.
Yeah, I'll be on a path. One direction leads behind us, and the other doesn't.
Gentlemen, if I could just have your attention, just one moment. I have been reflecting upon what happened to me yesterday, and I don't quite know how to explain this. But the more I evaluate what I saw when I got my headache, shall we say, I don't believe it was actually my memory, if this makes sense. I think I was almost tapped into like the memory or vision of another. And the only person that I can think that it makes sense is the young girl Armor, and where she went missing, and the hooded figure that she was with. And I somehow think that is connected to this town, and it's my belief that we did promise her mother, Siren, that we would bring her home. So I think it is our duty to look into this.
Where did you see in your vision, though, Greg?
I honestly cannot tell you fully. It was dark. It was cold. It was a cell, and there was some kind of altar. But
you're sure it was in Yotar?
I'm like around a 95% sure it was in Yotar.
Roll me. Greg, can you roll me a history check? What would you need to roll for your own like memories and things that you've seen? History? Intelligence?
Yeah, let's go with history. Here we go. It's an 11, and I don't know we'll get plus on top of that. Oh, history plus 5. Smashed it.
16. Okay, so just as a reminder, I'll give you a full reminder of what you've seen in your memories thus far.
Okay.
From a point of view, you were somebody, you don't know who, you were somebody living on the streets of Yatar.
Yeah.
You were very hungry, very cold, very neglected, and it was getting to the point where you just weren't getting any food whatsoever. You maybe not quite dying, but you were just it was just food was running out, and you just didn't know what to do. And then a hobgoblin, a hooded figure hobgoblin, basically came to you and offered you food and shelter. And like I said, I don't know if I said this, but you were in Yatar, and he offered you food and shelter. And he did this often for sort of waifs and strays. and asked you if you wanted to come with him, which you did, or well, whoever you were the point of view of did. And you recall heading out of Yartar into hills and going into a cave where he sort of claimed to be his home. So you weren't in Yartar itself, sort of at the last moments that you've seen so far. But you know that you were in hills, and you know that you were nearby, or relatively nearby.
Okay, so I'm gonna basically tell that to the party rather than me just saying it all out again, so they all have that same information.
Well, it seems clear to me that we'd better go to the domed building, investigate there briefly, and then try and find either a suspicious hobgoblin, which is not the name of a pub, public house.
I mean, what is a dome if not a hill?
Wow.
That's
deep.
Did you say who said that? I think it was Bono.
I thought that. Now you two.
Right. So what are you doing? What are you? So Greg's just dropped this sort of bomb on your laps about a potentially missing person who previously was in Yartar. And
I think the best place to start looking be the shopping district.
Yeah, I mean, the most sensible thing would be to see if there's a notice board similar to what there was in Tribal, or about the missing children, or anything such as that.
Do you know where there are often notice boards? Shopping districts.
Okay.
Are you gonna head there then? Are you gonna head to where you think the market is, or do you want to head where
Crow's already walking. Crow's there.
I guess we're following it then, like in tow.
I connected Sebastian, by the way. Sebastian's with us. The horses aren't. Sebastian's with me.
Okay.
I don't know if it's beneficial to us or not, but I have a feature called City Secrets.
Ooh.
Where basically...
Now you tell us.
Yeah, I basically know the secret patterns and flow of cities and can find passages through the urban sprawl that others would miss. So I'm kind of naturally good at finding my way around cities, I guess. In terms of gameplay mechanics, I can travel twice as fast than our speed would normally allow. But I don't know if that could then have like some flavour that I'm more inclined to know where the marketplace is, or better at guiding people. I don't know.
Okay. So what I would say is then...
Little legs are serving
So
you well.
you're going to let Sam go ahead, and then we're just going to turn up in front of him.
We'll meet him there 3 hours later.
What I'd say then is that Quinch has obviously flown up and had a quick look around and had a listen around and heard some things and seen some things, but not really got any information, any useful information, shall we say. Relaying that to Dabov, perhaps from there, he's been in a few cities in his life, and he's probably sort of understood, like you said, the flow of a city, and perhaps he's just used that information and his sort of just general sense of direction, for want of a better phrase, and he's just going to start heading off in the direction that he thinks somewhere like the marketplace would be, or the town square, or something along those lines. The rest of you following, I assume it's the same direction. Is it the same direction that Krill started walking? 1 to 10, yes. 11 to 20, no. 8, so yes. You basically, he got there by blind luck. You're going in the direction you think it actually is. Nice. But with your city slicker, or whatever it's called, you managed
City Secrets.
City Secrets.
City Secrets, yes.
You managed to catch him up, almost like power walking past this giant.
Like I'm on a pride march. I love it.
And sort of almost speed past him. And yeah, you generally head along the Evermore Way, and follow this pathway until you eventually, as you start getting closer to it, you do now start to pick up the sounds and the smells of an active marketplace. You can start to see more and more people. this is a very, even though you're still nowhere near the other side of the city, the size of this city is still quite different to anything that you've been exposed to in the last few weeks. Certainly as a group, it's just buildings everywhere, activity everywhere. As you're passing past like a few houses or a few buildings, you sort of see the occasional alleyway, and down alleyways you can see some deals being done and things that are happening that none of your business, but just things that are literally happening everywhere around you. Eventually, you come across this open space. The space in front of you opens out into a marketplace. One of the first things that sort of hits you is this smell of. Weirdly, that you've travelled away from the river, but as you sort of get closer to the marketplace, you suddenly get this big sort of smack of fishy odour, and it's quite clear that a lot of these stalls here are fish stalls, fishmongers selling their fish. There are various other things going on here, various other stalls, some clothing stalls, like not like armory or anything like that, but just like fabric and stuff like that. Normal clotheries, normal haberdashery type things. There's a couple of sort of boat style marketplaces, like selling equipment for sailing and things like that, which is not particularly surprising given you're in a city that's bisected by a very large river. And then there's just the occasional other ones like jewelry and things like that. Lots of people here, lots of activity, lots of money changing hands. You don't see a notice board though, much to Greg's chagrin.
Thought every town had one.
Well, it might do, but it certainly doesn't have it here in the marketplace.
Okay.
What's the nearest stall to us? What do we see immediately in front of us?
The nearest stall to you is it's a fish stall.
Quinch approaches.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello there, sir.
Hi, I'm a traveller. I'd like to ask a question if you don't mind.
Okay, is it a fish-based question?
It's fish adjacent.
Okay, go ahead.
That big domed building over there.
So which dome building are you talking about, sir?
I can see like a big, large, black domed building that's towering over.
Oh right, yes. Oh, that one, yes.
What do you know what that is?
That is the Water Baron's Hall, sir.
Water Baron's Hall. What happens in there then?
Well, sorry, have you been to Yatar before?
No, it's my first time.
Okay, our leader, our I don't know what's a word that isn't leader or ruler that isn't sort of like got a negative connotation.
Yeah.
Well,
Regalian?
Water Baron is basically the title, but I'm trying to think of it. The Water Baron is the person who oversees our city, our lord. Oversees our city, and that is their hall. That is their place of residence. It is where they conduct their city business.
Lovely. What's the best fish that you've got here then, or including shellfish or oyster or whelk?
Perch.
So Quinch just hops up onto the table. So as I say, what's the best fish or shellfish or including oyster or whelk that you've got?
Oh, sorry, skate.
Quinch looks down at his blue gemstone, the Arctic Storm.
Is it worth it?
He looks across at Crew, and Crew's going, do it.
He hops off of the table and says,
You've been so kind and so informative. May your fish be ever sold.
So you're not buying any fish then?
Ever be sold.
I'm allergic.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Still sees the rest of you milling behind. Are any of you interested in buying any fish? Got lovely perch and skate, some roe.
These all
Dabov
sound
just
like
kind of-
verbs.
Dabov just kind of looks up it like into the middle distance, thinks fish nuggies.
Fuggies.
Fuggies. Fugglies. And she goes, nah, and just walks off.
Is there anywhere around here I could potentially buy armor or weapons?
I'm sure about 10 minutes ago you were saying Krill doesn't need to buy anything.
Listen,
Krill wants to leave.
Before.
no one needs anything until they go shopping. Suddenly everything, I want everything.
The fishmonger can sell you some fish scale armor.
Oh,
But it stinks.
nice. Are you
No,
asking who?
Am I genuinely curious? Yeah, I am, but I'll leave it.
Okay.
I'm glad we had this talk.
Good chat, bro.
Crew's just stood there talking to himself, debating on whether he's like actually broken out of his old ways.
Right. So, are any of you buying anything at the market?
No, I think I'd be more concerned about finding information and a notice board at the moment.
Okie dokie.
Could you not fly up and see if there's any scenery that you notice? If there's any hills you might recognise?
That's a good shout. I could do that. I could jump on Smog and fly in the air. I don't know how far I can go. Was it 50 feet up?
Yeah, I mean we're out of action, so you can take your time to.
I mean, or we
go
could
that
just
way.
go to the whatever the water guy was called,
The water baron.
the water baron, and just see if he knows of anything going on. Seems a sensible person to ask.
Another thing that we could do is we could ask around for the hobgoblin.
Yeah.
What? Why do I not know what the hobgoblin is?
It's a beer, obviously. Have you not noticed? But where would the hobgoblin be hanging out? Like in a brewery, or just around the market, or?
Be pretty memorable if someone saw him milling about. So I think we could ask at the marketplace, which is the busiest place presumably in town.
Mm-hmm.
Could probably
Quinch
ask
could
that
talk
fish
to
guy.
his new mate. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I didn't realise they were going to become a main character. I would have asked their name. Sorry.
No, please don't.
Fish guy.
Not everyone needs a name. Not everyone needs a name.
All right. I'm going to ask the fish guy. So, I'll go, excuse me, sir.
Oh, yes,
First off, can I have 2 of your finest pike over there?
Okay, you can have that. That is that's an excellent pike this morning, freshly caught. That will be if you just give me one moment to decide how much that would be. That is going to be 2 silver pieces.
Yeah, and if I were perhaps to give you a gold piece rather than a silver piece, or 2 silver pieces, how much would you know about a hobgoblin?
You'd have to be a little bit more specific about this.
Have you seen any hobgoblins around the markets that wear cloaks with their hoods up? Looks a bit shifty.
And he sort of looks around the market and he says, "Well, I don't know if you've. Well, firstly, I don't know if you've taken it in, but there's quite a lot of people that are around here. I mean, this is a very, very busy marketplace. Obviously, had someone like that come to my stall and bought some fish, I probably would remember them. But I mean, no, it certainly doesn't ring a bell. And as for cloaked characters, I mean, cloaked people. I mean, again, it's a very common piece of clothing. You'd have to be a bit more specific, or I don't know. I'm happy to take a gold piece, but unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be able to provide you with much information about that person.
All right. Well, 2 silver pieces it is. There we go.
Are there any hobgoblins around?
Roll me another perception, please, Dweezil.
20. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. No, you don't see any hobgoblins around. I mean, hobgoblins are still. I mean, they're of the Orcus minoris race, and they're not necessarily. They are something that they are a race that still would probably stand out. Most hobgoblins are generally evil, chaotic evil, or lawful evil.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't necessarily find many of them around a town, but they are there. But you notice around this around town, you're starting to take it in a little bit more. I notice that there are quite a number of races around here that maybe you haven't seen much of. There's a few more tieflings. There's a few more dwarves, half elves. Like this is a bit more cosmopolitan than the places you've been staying before. So whilst the hobgoblins still would stand out because of the rarity of them, it's still a fairly diverse city that it wouldn't necessarily stand out as much as, say, Tribor or Nightstone.
Is there anybody around who looks like they may be like part of a vagrant community?
We point
no.
Dabov.
Oh, yeah,
in fact,
other than Dabov, yeah.
When you say vagrant, could be a bit more specific.
Like people that look like they could be street dwellers, people that look like they perhaps are of an urchin kind of lifestyle rather than, I'm thinking Artful Dodgers and that kind of thing.
So give me an idea. Dweezil, what was his background in terms of like
Dweezil's?
Was he Waterdeep?
Oh no, Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate. So he's used to a big city, and he's been places. He knows what a city looks like, and he understands that a city would have that type of character. Maybe not in abundance. That's probably a bit strong, but it's very common to see that sort of person in a big thriving city. Dweezil would probably notice that in the short time you've been in Yartar, you've not seen any of that at all. You've not seen one down and out person. Generally speaking, it's a relatively well maintained city, and very little to no homeless sites.
Davos, you lived on the streets of Waterdeep, didn't you?
Yeah.
When you live on the streets and you are living your life outside of the bounds of society, a city is a great place to do so, and you often find communities of people as you had when you were in Waterdeep. Does it not strike you as odd that there is no visible vagrant community in Yartar?
When we were walking through, did you say we saw like back alley deals and things like that?
Yeah, you did.
Did I pick up on any sort of more shady areas of town, or was that still relatively sort of like redeveloped type thing?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that the areas you walked past. I mean, bearing in mind you've not seen a great deal of it, but I wouldn't say the areas that you saw were the areas themselves weren't particularly shady or run down or anything like that. It was just, and even the deals you saw, it wasn't necessarily like drug deals. It was just there were things going on in alleyways,
like bartering and stuff.
Yeah, it was just people were doing things. It might not have been illegal, but it might have been immoral, or it might have been things that they didn't want people to see, or it might have been secret for any other reason.
Yeah. Okay. So I haven't picked up on any like vagrancy or anything either, presumably.
No, and in fact, very much more so probably than Dweezil because of your backstory and because of your history. Sorry. You would almost get it would almost be sort of more unnerving to you because although you're a bit more civilized since you've been with the group and stuff, you lived on the streets a lot in your time, and because of your city secrets, although it gives you a sense of how to get around a city, it's a gaping hole in the city that you would expect to see more of.
Yeah, I can't see the seedy underbelly of the city.
Not right now,
exist, no. Okay, I'll replace Dweezil then. That something's weird about this town. I don't like it. I'm not getting a good feeling. Something feels like it's been, for want of a better word, like whitewashed. It's too good here.
Maybe we should go and have a look in the big dome building.
I think we should go speak to the head of this town. Something's not right, but be on our guard, I think.
Okay. Anything else you want to do in the marketplace?
No, I think we've got a plan of action now, haven't we?
Okay, so you're heading.
Assuming we've not seen anything suspicious while we've been here.
No, it's like I say. I mean, by no means. Let me just set the scene a little bit more. By no means am I describing Yartar as like some sort of utopia. This is not like it's very much, pretty much like any other city in terms of everything. It's just that you don't see that sort of complete like I say. It's more that you don't see anyone homeless at the moment. Like I say, you've only seen a small part of the city, so there might be shady areas. There might be areas that are not quite as good, but you just haven't seen any sort of signs of homelessness, anyone who looks like they're down on their luck, particularly like really bad on their luck, down on their luck. Yeah, it just seems like everyone's sort of doing all right, and there's sort of no one not doing all right, so to speak.
Well, you'd think a marketplace would be prime begging territory. That's where I'm coming from. I don't know if that's accurate, but
one of the bars now, and they've said that all the bars were pretty much the same level of cleanliness, and the one that we visited was like pretty tip top. There was no like drunks or, people who looked down on their luck and upset and drinking their woes away.
We're basically in the Cotswolds. I like it.
Yeah.
and just as a reminder, on that point, one of the, if not the first memory that Greg had, was of somebody on the streets trying to thieve in the market. So just to double down on your point there, that Greg has already relayed to you information that there was at least this one person who was doing that sort of thing, who was there trying to steal a loaf of bread for something to eat. But right now that's almost.
Have we come to Bulgaria from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and he was with the child catcher? This could be awesome.
Excellent reference.
Someone's rounded up all the thieves, and now they're in a cave underneath the castle or whatever. Awesome.
Right, so you're going to head to Walter Baron's Hole, or anything you want to make a detour via, or anything else?
No, I think we can come back, can't we? To buy stuff later on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Krill painfully waves goodbye to the armor and weapon shop he spotted out the corner of his eye.
Are you beating your shopping addiction?
Yeah.
Awesome. Right. So although, well, actually, you don't need to. I was going to say you get directions, but it's clear, you can see where this big dome building is. There doesn't seem to be a direct path to it, and you sort of find yourself weaving in and out of buildings. And very much, this continues to be sort of a city where some of the architecture is a bit newer than others, some is a bit older. Again, but everything seems to be in pretty good working order. You see a few stores here and there. Nothing exciting. Don't get excited about seeing some big weapon shop or a Dunkel permanent fixture. And you make your way towards the Water Baron's Hall. As you approach it, you see a notice board, and I assume that you approach it, given that it was something you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're looking on it, and there's no signs of missing children, which is the first thing that you would have been probably looking for. There's no signs of that. No missing people at all, to be honest. There's a few sort of notes of sort of local events that are going on, but nothing that's particularly interesting. There's a cake sale going on at a local hall in the coming weeks. It's all just sort of city stuff. There's nothing particularly exciting. But Dweezil, please roll me a perception.
That is an 18.
An 18. As you're looking, very much as you saw in Tribal, there's a few adverts, some of which are for specific services, some of which are for local businesses. In fact, one of them does catch your eye. It's parchment, and the thing that catches your eye is a black disc and a golden goose, and above it says the Great Dame Pleasure House.
Thank you for joining us on our adventures. Please subscribe and leave a review on whichever platform you listen to podcasts through. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at Dyson Desire, where we share behind the scenes bits and bobs, and we'd love to interact with you there.
Welcome to Roleplay Retcon Studios, located at the nexus of all alternate universes, including the sexy vampire ones.
Ooh.
At Roleplay Retcon, we remake famously disappointing movies using comedy, hindsight, and tabletop RPGs.
Like Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes, but specifically not Dungeons and Dragons. We take a second pass at guilty pleasures like Batman and Robin or Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and even some controversial favorites like Twilight.
But I love those movies.
We do too, and all of the movies we do have something to love. If they didn't, there would be nothing to reimagine. At the end of each series, we compare our vision to the original films, because why the not?
I can't wait to listen to Roleplay Retcon on nerdsmith.org or wherever you get podcasts.
I'm gonna listen to it before you do.